During the promotion of Legendary's Godzilla, they introduced a prequel comic called Godzilla Awakening. And taking place during the 1940s and 1980, the comic chronicles the battle between Godzilla and a MUTO called Shinomura. Now this MUTO, similar to the other MUTOs we saw in the 2014 movie, and by others I really just mean two, is associated less with a normal creature but instead parasites, which is a pretty broad term in its own right. So when I say parasites, don't think like literal parasites like you would get if you were sick. This creature had blue scales, wings, multiple eyes, and the interesting thing was that it actually wasn't just like one whole creature necessarily in a traditional sense, but actually it was a composite of millions of smaller creatures which merged into one. And each cell of this creature could regenerate, as they're similar in many ways to a starfish, both in appearance it's said and also their ability to regenerate. Now this is incredibly similar to another famous character, or I guess monster, we received in the Godzilla mythos, which was Destroyah, because Destroyah also had the ability of regeneration, but also is a composite monster. And I think the most interesting connection in my opinion is how they both originate, as it's both from millions and trillions of aquatic-like creatures merging together. So they both can also manipulate this ability to replicate themselves. The Shinomura uses this ability actually in Godzilla Awakening when it's separated briefly, and those two separated parts kind of become two different Shinomuras. Basically what happens is a sample is taken from the Shinomura and they don't really understand how the Shinomura works, and Monarch exposes that part to radiation, and the radiation triggers something and triggers a regeneration, and instead of getting one Shinomura at this point in the story, we get two. So reacting to the radiation, like I said before, it's allowed to regenerate, it makes a new kind of whole thing of itself, and eventually the Shinomuras merge into one larger one. Destroyah wasn't the first of monsters to show this ability in the Toho properties, but I definitely think his application of regeneration is the most similar in terms of how it's applied with the Shinomura. This monster was destroyed by the nuclear bomb actually we saw in 1954 after a decade and off and on fighting Godzilla. And I think it's worth noting that this nuke is the same bomb that we were shown the opening credits of in the Godzilla 2014 movie at Bikini Atoll. So in my opinion, it's really interesting that a species of MUTO like this exists in the MonsterVerse, because it could be used as a bridge of sorts to the MonsterVerse version of a Destroyah in the future, because it's possible that other composite-like creatures are dormant just like Shinomura was, waiting to be awoken. And at the same time, in other instances, based on how Shinomura's cells respond to radiation, maybe a MUTO is waiting for the right catalyst, because not all catalysts have to be the same. So let's say indeed there's a creature like Destroyah out there, instead of radiation, just simple radiation being the catalyst, maybe the catalyst is a theoretical oxygen destroyer, or an oxygen destroyer-like device that we may or may not see in either Godzilla King of the Monsters or Godzilla vs. Kong. While rumored to be in Godzilla King of the Monsters, the oxygen destroyer caused rapid mutations in prehistoric crustaceans, which merged to form Destroyah in the original introduction of the creature. So if they do something similar to that, it's kind of nice to know that while this may be a theory in the video, like I said before, it's nice to know that Legendary in some way, shape, or form actually kind of left a door open, even if slightly, teasing Destroyah in the future with regards to how a creature like this could actually be around, because it may be a thing, like I said before, where that type of species existed before, but the oxygen destroyer simply just caused a further mutation of that species to elevate it to the degree that it's actually at when we see the quote-unquote Destroyah creature. So comment below your guys' thoughts. What do you guys think about this? I just thought it was interesting when I was reading up on some of the Legendary Godzilla stuff. I was like, this creature has a lot of similarities. Maybe they're kind of little by little, you know, behind the scenes kind of setting the, you know, setting the right environments up that would allow us to have Destroyah, and then they could be like, well, there's other creatures just like it. So like I said before, comment below, and I'll see you guys later.